You talk a lot about immigration. Let's slide into the immigration portion of the afternoon, evening. What is the reason why most people who are immigrants come to live in America?
It varies. It varies quite a bit. I also want to say Bernie Sanders dropped the jobs issue and dropped the working class issue. Why? Because he's put through the meat grinder of one of the main political parties. And you are not going to get, it is the uniparty in Washington against the people. That was what Trump represented. And the proof of that was the interview that Bernie gave. I think it was to Salon, and he said something about, he was asked about, I remember the guy that I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, who said, well, yeah, of course you're for open borders. And Bernie Sanders said, no, that's a Koch brothers idea. They want the cheap labor. That was what his position used to be. But then, oh, no, has to be for open borders because he's running as a Democrat. That is what hurts the working class, the low-wage workers, more than anything else. We're just going to keep dumping more low-wage workers on the country. And that is in answer to your question. I mean, a lot of them are coming for the welfare benefits now. As Milton Friedman said, you can't have a welfare state and open borders. And we're getting a lot of that now. Pre-1970 immigrants made more money, bought more houses than the people who already lived here. Post-1970 immigrants, vastly poorer than the people who already live here. Well, that's just competing for resources, both for government benefits and for jobs from our own poor people. How about we bring in people to compete with talk show hosts and senators and governors and Wall Street bankers? Then we'll see, how much compassion we have for the rest of the world. But Mark Zuckerberg doesn't want somebody to compete with him for his job. He wants to bring in people to compete for his landscaper's job. That is how Donald Trump cares about the people who are being hurt and have been left behind and ignored by both political parties for decades now.
I have a response to that. So all it takes is a quick Google search to find that undocumented immigrants have no access to government benefits. In fact, yes. In fact, in 1996, Bill Clinton and legislators at the time made it incredibly difficult for immigrants who are in the country legally to have access to government benefits or government programs. And so it's a complete fear-mongering talking point from the right that people are coming into this country and they're mooching off American taxpayers. The only people who are mooching off of American taxpayers right now are oil companies and the wealthiest people who... And it's really a great distraction to have Americans look at the little guy and blame them for all their problems when the wealthiest people in this country are basically raping and pillaging us, right? So that's what's happening. To go back to Tere's original question about why people are coming into this country, right now, immigration from Mexico, so Mexican immigrants, is down, okay? Mexicans are not trying to come into the country the way they were before, mostly because of some of our policies, but more importantly because their economy is doing better, right? So they have no reason to come here. Economic reasons was the main reason why Mexican immigrants were coming into the U.S. But all of a sudden, we're seeing an increase of people from Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador trying to cross the border. First of all, cross the border into Mexico and then cross into the United States, which has become pretty impossible considering the increased border security that we have because of the Obama administration. Now, why are they trying to come in? Well, there have been spikes in violence in those countries. Okay, there have been drug traffickers, cartels that have increased violence. You've heard about, decapitations and all that stuff. Well, the reason why they're so powerful is because of the drug war that you're very supportive of. We've spent $1 trillion on the war on drugs since 1971. We're not only wasting our resources, we're literally fueling drug cartels in other countries, which is upping the ante when it comes to undocumented immigration in the country. So that's what's happening.
A lot of studies show that the number one reason that immigrants give for illegally crossing the border is family reunification. They want to reunite with their family. Do you think that it is immoral to break immigration law to reunite with your family?
It is a total lie that illegal immigrants do not get all kinds of government assistance. Please do Google that. But don't just look up. Any idiot can write on the internet. Look it up. They can get food stamps. They go into emergency rooms. They get schooling. They get English as a second language. They get the SNAP program. They get full health care in California. It is not saying that illegal immigrants are the little guy. They're not our guys. Americans don't have a problem paying for our own poor, our own sick, our own injured. But the idea is we're like a family. We're all in this together.
Aren't you in favor of welfare reform?
And you say, but for the grace of God go I. Okay, but you don't get to, this isn't the entire world we're talking about. We're not turning America into, the universe's